I'm not holding much hope for this game. It's about Ian Slaine, who's a hairdresser. That doesn't sound very promising, does it, for a computer game? You see, Slaine is a barber called Ian, and... oh, wait, I think I've got that wrong. He's a barbarian, not a barber Ian. Sorry. Yes, if you're new to the channel, I can only assure you that it does not improve from here. So yes, Slaine, we're doing another 2000 AD comic character. This big old unit was the brain spore of Pat Mills, who also gave us Nemesis the Warlock, a game that we covered in the previous episode. This was a decidedly family affair though, as he got his then wife Angela Kincaid to do the art. She went on to illustrate children's books and let other folk draw the muscly men, whilst she decided to indulge herself in a mild bit of divorce. Slaine made its first appearance though in 1983. It tells the story of a wanderer who has been banished from his tribe for slipping at length to the chief's missus. Oops. He meets up with a dodgy dwarf called Uko, who he regularly punches, but chooses to hang about with anyway, as they make a menace of themselves around the land of Tirnar Nog. I would say not that one, but it totally is. He has a big old axe called the Brain Biter, and has the power to channel the earth through him, making him more and more powerful. This is called the Warp Spasm. Demons, dragons, gods, and legendary and real British and Irish figures appear in the saga, like St. Patrick, William Wallace, Boudica, Robert the Bruce, Robin Hood, and King Arthur. Drawing a lot from Robert E. Howard's Conan the Barbarian, also Cuchulainn, I hope I said that right, an Irish legend, Slaine is still having volumes published at the time of recording, as late as 2025. Slaine was published by Martech in 1987 on all three major 8-bit computers. Hey, they published Nemesis the Warlock too. And guess what? Creative Reality programmed Slaine. They also programmed Nemesis the Warlock as well. And they both came out in 1987, so they're practically twins. I mean, they're not similar in terms of how they play though, beyond the fact that they both have fairly original elements and that they both have very high body counts. The plotline is that the last of the Droon wizards, Slaine's arch-villains, are dead. However, the evil lies on until the last wizard's name is said aloud, sort of like saying Jimmy Savile. There you go, no need to thank me, but I've just killed all the noncery in all of the Albion. The only person to know the wizard's name is his daughter, who is trapped in a sky tower. The fact that she's smoking hot and Slaine is walking about basically perma-engorged also helps focus him on the task in hand. I'm only covering the Spectrum game today because I'm feeling lazy. It's better to be honest with you, isn't it? Slaine is, as you can tell, very text adventure without actually being a text adventure. As you can see, all the usual options are there, like examine, look, move, that sort of thing. However, you can probably tell that it's not quite as you would normally see it. You see, you're not typing anything in, and I don't know, the words are moving a bit ADHD across the screen. This is known as the reflex system, which is a menu-based system and has the constant aspect of pressure being put upon you due to its time constraints. It's a neat little idea given the usual ponderous nature of the text adventure games. It's a feature that goes on through the entire game, but when you get in a scrap with opponents, the words drift at a faster rate and are all related to combat and defense. You can swing your axe, you can kick them, you can punch them, you can block, you can dive out the way, you can leap, all sorts of things. The nearest game that I found that has this kind of system, which looks like a text adventure but is actually menu based and has this time constraint aspect to it, is probably James Herbert's Rats, which I found to be one of the better games that I never played before. And it plays a lot like that, so I'm bound to like it, right? Yes, I do. You see, it's unusual to get a text-based game that gets your adrenal gland clocking in for once, and this certainly delivers on that score. You'll have to keep an eye on Slaine's warp rating, which is sort of like his health, and it drops if he takes a kicking, but it can be boosted by handing out a kicking yourself or avoiding taking a kicking for a sustained period of time. And the other option is, of course, that trusty old boost to your health system, and that's to find some food lying around on the floor and just eat it up. There's other bits to the game as well. There's a thrilling game of poker. There's all sorts of encounters with wildlife and other dangerous beasts. And it's a real sprawler of a game. One to raid the pages of Spectrum Computing or an old magazine for a guide or a map. And I think it's one that you might well want to do as well. You see, Slaine is pretty damn good for what it is. I'm always going to smile upon something that tries to do, something a little bit different. But not only does it do something different, but it does it very well indeed. I don't think it's going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's not a looker, and you can miss a lot of the context of the area you're in if you're staring at the perpetually motioning text that darts across the game menu, and you will be hyper-focused on that. Also, it can be a little bit frustrating when your gauntlet misses a word that you accidentally overshoot, but you know what? It's not something that's going to put you off playing the game at all. You'll want to try it again. It is addictive stuff. Probably not for everyone, but I really liked it. Now all I have to do is use the system on a game about a barber called Ian. Your Sinclair reviewed it in January 1988. They said it's initially tricky to get used to, but then again, once you've done it a few times, it comes a lot easier. They gave it a 9 out of 10. Crash reviewed it in the same month. They gave it a 7 out of 10 and said, to the non-playing observer, Slaine looks dull, but the thoroughly mindless fighting is enjoyable to play. CMVG also covered it in the same month and gave it an 8 out of 10 as well. They said Slaine has a real addictive quality that most ordinary adventures just don't have. In fact, you could say that it refreshes the parts that other games can't reach. I'm guessing Heineken adverts were fairly new at that point. What's next then? Well, let's finish off this mini run of UK comics by ending on a big one. And it is going to be a big video too, as we're going to look at the zxspectrum Dour trilogy. All 3 of them in one video. I'm actually going to have to put some work into this. Goodness gracious me. Like, subscribe, and Kay, thanks, bye.